I'm Kristen Andre, founder and chief strategist of Andre Consulting Group. I founded my company almost 10 years ago because I love helping people not only succeed, but thrive in their careers and their lives. So many times I meet amazing people who have so much more potential than what they're utilizing. As I engage with them, there seems to be a common theme: the limits they place on themselves. Throughout this podcast series, we're going to visit some incredible people who have created more intentional lives for themselves, those who've had that no limits moment where they chose to grow and they put things in motion to help them do so. We will focus on how you can break through limits. We will equip you with strategies to help you lead a more intentional life, and we will have a lot of fun along the way. So let's dive in. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of No Limits with Kristen Andre. We are here today with Tonya Oxendine, who is a nearly 30-year veteran of the Army and is now a motivational speaker. So I'm super excited to have you here. Very excited to hear the lessons that we're going to hear that the military has taught you. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful, wonderful. Tell us a little bit about your career, because I know you said you spent almost 30 years in the U.S. Army. Mm-hmm. So what made you choose that career?
Well, I wanted to go to college, but where I come from, we couldn't, my mom was a single parent, me and my brother, and we couldn't afford college at that time. Now looking back, I probably could have, not necessarily afford college as money, but scholarships and things like that, because I was fairly smart in school. But anyway, I didn't go to college, so the next best thing was to join the military. Okay. So I went to the recruiter station and I joined the Army, and so glad that I did. Yeah. My first duty assignment was Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and from there I went to Fort Huachuca, Arizona.
Huachuca, Arizona.
Yes. Okay. Out in the desert. So
it had to have been hot.
It was very hot.
Yeah.
Very hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from there, my career kind of took off from there, and I did some pretty interesting things. Never was one just to kind of sit around and do maybe the normal things. Just sit back and do something. So I went to drill sergeant school, went back to Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Yeah. Okay. Once I completed that, I said, okay, let's do something else interesting, and fell in love and went to airborne school.
Oh, and, wow.
Okay. I went to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and loved that so much and never left, and stayed at Fort Bragg and for the remainder of my career mostly, and kind of took that on and did that. Wow. So
that's, first of all, thank you for your service, because that's a huge career and a big commitment. Yeah, big commitment. Yeah. But it sounds like you had there's a brave side to you too. Yeah. It sounds like
kind of adventurous. Yeah.
So what was your favorite part? So what drew you to airborne school? Because I hear that and I go, oh no, there's a perfectly good airplane. I will stay right inside, not jumping, not doing anything. Because you said you did jump school too.
Yeah. Well, you have to go to airborne. Yeah, right. Yeah, but the training. I guess just the adventure and wanting to do something different. I saw the beret and just wanting to do something different, and why not with the elite, the airborne, the center of the universe, being at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All
right. So how many females did you have? Because you said you were a drill sergeant, right?
Yes.
So I think a lot of people listening are, if we've not been in the military, and I was not raised in a military family. My dad served early on when most people did with the draft, but not being raised around a military family, I feel like my exposure to it is what I see on TV and what I see on the news. So drill sergeant to me because you just seem so nice and approachable, and drill sergeant.
Nice.
I know, but drill sergeant just has that. That's the tough exterior job to me.
Yeah, we have to be tough. Right. Because we're training soldiers. Our main mission in the military and the Army is to fight and win wars. Right. So, we have to protect our country. And we also have to take care of America's sons and daughters. And to do that, we have to train them to go out and fight and win wars. So that in basic training, we train those soldiers, to be disciplined and stay on track and do everything they need to do to go out and to complete this mission. So that's what basic training is all about. You know, we have to make sure they're in good shape, you know, with the running and training, going through all these different obstacles. Right. We also make sure they have to know how to fire their weapon.
Yes.
Right.
Very important.
Yes,
yeah.
very important. Yeah. So it's a lot of training that goes into that basic training, depending on how long they're going to be there, whether it's 8 weeks or 20 weeks. Okay. It's a lot of training that's compressed in that time. And some of those guys that leave, and when I say guys, I'm talking about males and females. Yeah. When those soldiers leave, they are, you know, they go straight to, you know, the war.
They're deployed.
They're deployed, right.
Yeah. And it just seems like, my guess is that a lot of the people that come to you, that you're helping train or did help train, they're young.
They're very young. Yeah. So, yeah, I have 2 adult sons, 31 and 25.
Okay.
So I treated everybody, not necessarily like my children, but again, those are America's sons and daughters. So I had to take care of them like they were my own. Right. And I didn't want to not train them correctly because unfortunately everybody doesn't come back home.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, I wanted to make sure they were well trained.
What was your biggest challenge in trying, because that is, I mean, these are large groups of people that are very young in a new career for them. You know, what was the biggest challenge getting them all where you needed them to be, or where we wanted to be, to let them do their job, one, and to stay safe, which is the bigger.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge for me, or for some of us, you know, the leaders that's out there, you know, I don't want to say millennials, because the millennials, you know, we're smart people, and they are very smart people as well. Some of us want the, you know, like you said earlier, you see it on TV and think it's all this stuff. Right. It's not. It's very attention to detail. So we would have to really get them to understand that it's attention to detail. This is life or death. So some of that kept me up at night to ensure that if I trained them correctly, I trained them the right way. And if not, we would pull them back aside again and do what we call remedial training and retrain them again, because this is serious business. We have to go out there and make sure that you are doing this the correct way. So that was just some of the things that would maybe bother me, or that we would be concerned with. But we had great programs in place for that, to make sure that these soldiers were trained properly.
And I love the way you put it, you know, protecting America's sons and daughters, because I, you know, when you said that, that really was like, oh, you know what, that's true. And I don't know that those of us who've not had that opportunity or that exposure really understand that. Yeah. So you've got I mean, that's a big
it's serious business.
Serious business.
Yeah.
So what was the most rewarding thing in your military career? Because nearly 30 years is a long time.
It's a long time. Yeah. The most rewarding, I think, at all times is, of course, okay, if I take it back to basic training, is seeing those soldiers when we are completely done as trainers or as leaders walk across the parade field, and their parents or their loved ones just like, yo, you know, that's my baby, they did it. And we're saying, that's my baby, they did it, you know. And then maybe at the
fighting over who's the
right. And then maybe at the end of their career, or at the end of our career, the same thing. We start that way, beginning our career walking across the parade field, and we end that way, you know, with our retirement ceremony, walking across the parade field. So that's, you know, even now it's kind of, you know,
it's still proud. You should be. Absolutely. Yeah. So you've pivoted though. So since you retired from the military, you're doing motivational speaking now.
Yes.
Which I love, because love speaking. It's one of my favorite parts of my career. So I love that you have the opportunity to do that. What called you to do that?
I don't know if I'm trying to be, you know, politically correct here. Sometimes you don't
have to be politically correct.
Sometimes you don't know if it's a calling. I don't know if I was called to do it, but since I feel that I am, I have to express my voice. Good. My voice is my strength, and if I hold that in, then I'm not providing the gift that was given to me.
Right. Yeah. Right. So with your speaking, what are you trying to encourage others to do? What's your message?
To be better.
To be better.
Not saying anybody's bad, but just to be better. Okay. I don't think we should hold in what we were given a gift to give. You know, some of us don't ask for riches or fame or fortune or long life, but if we are given that, then we should share it.
You should share it. That's perfect. Perfect. So what do you think, let's say, I mean, with everything you're doing, who do you hope to impact most? Who are you really hoping shows up in your audience that they go, this is exactly what I needed?
People
in general.
Yes, people.
Okay. So young, old,
everybody.
Okay.
My next I really want to write a book. Don't take my book.
Yeah, I won't take it. But I'll make you
write
it.
On No Limits Christian. Leadership. Leadership is a people business. It's about people.
Absolutely.
It's all about people.
Yeah.
So if we take care of people and we do good for people and we do good for others, it's just about giving back and paying it forward.
And I think you're in a unique, I think that'd be fantastic. I'm going to follow up and make sure you write this book because I think you can do it.
That's my book, y'all.
I like it. So, all right, but with leadership, that to me, your background is perfect to talk about that, to talk about leadership, because my guess is, and you don't have to name names, but throughout your military career, you've had great leaders and you've had leaders that probably were not as great. So what lessons did you learn around leadership that you want people to know? I mean, what helped you become a better leader?
I've had some great leaders, like you said, and I've had some not so great leaders, but you learn from each one of them. We have a thing we call our kit bag, you know, that we carry around as we jump. But you take a little bit and you put in your pocket every now and again. You take from this, you take from that, and you learn throughout life. And I've read a couple of good books, and I got one book from a great leader, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Lincoln on Leadership, From Good to Great. And you just take all that stuff and you build your own little repertoire.
Yeah,
is that correct?
Absolutely.
Right, you build your own little kit bag. You build your own little pocket of experiences.
Yep.
And you just kind of go from there, So
I've
learned a lot from everybody.
I like the kit bag.
Yeah.
I like that phrase.
Bag.
I haven't heard that before. Now, was this just kind of an idea bag, or is this just
No, your kit bag is what you have
keeping
you put
safe.
all your equipment in, so you carry
it.
this on your back, and once you come out, you jump out of the airplane, you put everything into your kit bag.
I like it. But I like the way you're talking about that, and I mean, from a metaphorical standpoint, you can almost have a kit bag where you're putting your ideas too, and just deposit it. So those are some great books that you mentioned.
Yeah.
I really I love I'm a reader of development books, like personal and professional development is a big hobby of mine. And I love most of the books that you've mentioned. I've read. I think they're fantastic. Couldn't read fiction to save my life. It's just I'm not a fiction girl. But I feel like those are some of the reasons where you can just you just get drawn into them. So when you decided to speak and to share these leadership things and these things that you've learned over your career, what stage do you want to be on? I know you said you've got an event coming up.
I do.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, I have an event coming up at the Cobb Galleria Center
here in Atlanta.
On June 23rd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tickets are on sale now on Eventbrite. Early bird, you can save $10 at $49.99. I have two great speakers that are going to be on stage with me. I also have a comedian who's going to be talking about a few things. It's a very clean. The title of the event is called G-rated. It's called Deliberate Success. So we're going to be talking about keys and elements for success based on our experience.
Awesome.
So come out on June 23rd at the Cobb Galleria.
I like it. So we're going to have to. We definitely will post a link to that when we air the show. But it's I'm intrigued because I love people that have kind of had the calling to help others. And what I'm gathering and talking with you is, I think that's what drew you. I mean, you've got some great stories and great things to share, but what's your biggest reward? Like when you talk to people, is it seeing them progress? I mean, what really sets you on fire and gets you excited?
I think what sets me on fire is just seeing when I'm talking to an audience and when I'm seeing them, their eyes light up. When I'm seeing them jotting down notes, I can go for days and continue to talk. Yeah, it motivates me to see that they are being motivated, right?
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a short break, and after the break, we will be back with more from Tonya Oxendine, and we're going to talk a little bit about overcoming limits and how she overcame some limits in her life, as well as a few of the really cool things she's got going on right now. So we'll be right back. Hey everyone, check out my podcast, No Limits with Kristen Andre, on Tuesday nights at 7:30. We will tackle the things holding you back and the limits you set on yourself and equip you with some strategies to lead more intentional lives. Podcast launches every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. on facebook.com/Andre Group. That's facebook.com/ANDREE Group. We'll see you there. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the No Limits with Kristen Andre podcast. We are here with Tonya Oxendine, who has retired from a nearly 30-year military career in the United States Army and is now a motivational speaker. So we enjoyed talking with Tonya before the break, but here's what I want to dive into now a little bit. So we talked about what it takes to be in the military and what the leadership lessons you learn. But I want to dive a little bit into the discipline that it takes, because we were talking a little bit during the break for you guys listening. I feel like I'm a very disciplined person, but the military takes it to a whole nother level. Right. And I've got to believe that really translated now that you're out of the military and you've embarked and started your own business and are doing some motivational speaking. That's got to have really helped a lot. So what disciplines did you learn in your military career that translate to business now?
Right. If you want to get something done and you're, focused on doing that, you really have to be laser focused. Yeah. And you have to be brutally honest with yourself or with your team when you're dealing with something, trying to complete that mission or that task. In the military. Yeah. Because again, life depends on it in the military. Right. And even now out of the military, my livelihood depends on that because I don't, I'm an entrepreneur. So that's my livelihood. And now with my health as well, I compete in competitions and that type of thing.
So you got to go into this a little bit more. Yeah. So for those of you guys that are watching via live stream, you can tell that Tonya is very fit. I'm a little scared to be sitting here right now, but she competes in fitness competitions.
Yeah, I do.
That's a huge degree of discipline. Yeah. My guess is you've just got that discipline gene plugged into you.
I don't know if I got the gene plugged into me, but again, the military
helped. Yeah.
I give all credit really to the military with that, helping with that discipline, grabbing me up and probably shaking me up a little bit. Yeah. I compete. Yeah. My first competition was, I said I wanted to compete by the age of 50, so I completed that goal.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's awesome.
So I competed in 2017. I did pretty good in that competition. Okay. I'll compete again. I don't know if I'll compete after this time. I'll compete again in November. So it just takes a lot of discipline to, with prepping your meals and eating correctly and, of course, exercising according to schedule and that type of thing. And, if you're going out with friends, of course, you can't have a little drinky or two and eat and stuff. You have to take your meals with you. It's just a lot of discipline.
This could be the reason I may not be doing these competitions. But no, it's the discipline piece, I think, is huge with any facet of business or entrepreneurship or anything. And you learn that in the military, which was good. But as you mentioned, the military, a lot of the decisions you're making and the disciplines you need to follow are life and death. Yeah. I mean, they really are. They're high stakes. Yes. With your business, my business, any of us that are entrepreneurs, the stakes are high, but they're not life and death.
No, they're not life and death. But
so how do you keep that degree of intensity and focus in business as you did in the military?
I forget who said it or if somebody in particular said it, but if you want something as bad enough, and I may be paraphrasing, as bad enough if you want to breathe. And I want this bad, so I have to be disciplined enough to do it. It's going to be mistakes. Everybody's going to, most people have failed at something, but it's the people that understand, the path to that you're going to fail in life. You're going to fail in business. Right. But I have to keep a positive attitude. So, positive thinking will improve me better than negative thinking will.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to always be happy, but I can always have a positive attitude.
You can always have a positive attitude. So did that come, is that just you as a person, or did that come in your training from being a drill sergeant? Because drill sergeant, positive attitude, leadership qualities, all
that came over time. That wasn't always, child. I ain't just wake up.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I'm just positive. That came over time, and just understanding, life and, that negative stuff. I can come out and wake up and be negative. Oh, I have this to do. I have that to do. I can either get on it, be disciplined about it, get on it, get started, and be positive about it.
And I feel like it's a choice. If everybody has a choice if they're going to be in a good mood or a bad mood, or what you're going to focus your thoughts on for the day. And with that, we can either focus on the positive or focus on the negative. So I love that you've got that positive attitude. Don't you think that I would think that the discipline helps with that? Because if you know what's ahead of you, your task ahead of you, it's going to make it a heck of a lot easier to attack it.
Yes, exactly.
And to go after it. So,
you just have to plan and set goals, and sometimes you have to step back and those goals change and plans change. Yep. don't worry about it. Just, that stuff, it'll work its way out, and you'll figure it out. We have a saying, I always go back to the military because that's my life. That's
Absolutely.
what I knew. And we were talking earlier about how do you kind of translate that into civilian life. Sometimes I can't. Yeah. So you either go with it or you don't, whoever I'm talking to, that's just who I am, and kind of, maybe it'll be with me for the rest of my life. I'm not sure. But we had a saying in the military, I will never quit. I will never accept defeat. I'm always saying it to myself. I use those positive affirmations, that positive self-talk. I am worthy. I am capable. I am able. I am different. I am who I am.
And I think that's fantastic because the positive self-talk, we use that word a lot around my house. I have 3 girls, and my youngest, that's our big our big catchphrase with her. I'm like, positive self-talk, because she'll be the first one to say, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. I'm going to do terrible, on this test or what have you. And we kind of, the older sisters now, we look at her and go, positive self-talk. Right. And, so we make her talk through it. And it sounds trivial. Like when we first started doing that with her, she kind of got annoyed. And we finally just kind of got her into a habit now where we just look at her and she'll start saying good things and good affirmations. And I feel like you've got to be able to have that attitude moving forward in life.
And that's discipline.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes you don't feel like doing that mess. You just like, I just don't want to do it today. I do feel like crap. I don't feel. But the more you do it and the better you get at it, it does make you feel at least a little bit better.
It does. And I think the longer you say it, the longer you repeat. I mean, when we did it with my youngest, she certainly was like, I'm going to do good on the test and I'll be fine. It was a little bit begrudging that she was doing the positive self-talk. But at some point, if we talk to ourselves positively enough, at some point we're going to start believing ourselves.
That's right.
And that's where I think the change really happens. Right. So with you and you obviously have belief in yourself, because otherwise you wouldn't be putting it out there and doing these competitions. So what do you feel like for either people who own their own businesses, or people may show up in your audience when you do your talks? What do you feel like people's biggest challenges? What's their biggest limit in life and in career?
I know everybody say it, but it's fear.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just being scared to get out there and try something different, because we get so stuck in just being in our safe place.
Yep.
Just kind of just stick that little toe out there and just try it.
Toe in the water.
Yeah, just do it. I mean, some of that stuff, what is it? The saying, don't try new something, or I know I'm sounding all crazy right now, but don't invent
don't reinvent the wheel.
Don't reinvent the wheel. Yeah. I mean, that stuff is the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fear. Fear's a big part of society, because there's so many, there's scary people out there, there's scary things out there, and most of the things that we're scared of, I think don't really happen. What is that, with the acronym for fear, what is it? False evidence appearing real is one of it. So it's one of those things where if we just kind of took the leap, I mean, that's a great analogy. I mean, that's right. We talked about jump school earlier. You just got to go, right?
Yeah, you just have to do it.
So how did you learn to not pause and just go for it? You just did?
Yeah, you just kind of,
yeah.
Even if you close your eyes, just do it. Even if you cringe, just do it.
Yep.
Stop waiting, that 5-second rule when you drop something on the floor.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever did that.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that 5-second rule. If you wait and pause, don't hesitate.
Just
those
go.
Big people, they're big now, but I don't think they hesitated. The Oprahs and the Steve Harveys, and maybe they did a little bit, and I think they figured that thing out. Don't hesitate. Yeah. You yourself, don't hesitate. You didn't do it. You didn't hesitate.
Oh, I've had times that I've hesitated.
But then now look at you, right?
Yeah.
So then you did it. So you can't hesitate. Even if you do, think about it and go back and don't hesitate.
And sometimes it's easier to look back and see the area, because I definitely had areas where I paused longer than I should have, or I hesitated a little bit. Now I jump in a little bit quicker, but I'm still cautious.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is having people around you that kind of, to use your military, you would have to push me out of that plane.
Right.
So sometimes you just need people who are just going to give you that little bitty nudge.
Yeah. Green light, go.
Green light, go. Have you had that throughout your career? Have you had anybody that kind of nudged you along?
Well, that's illegal. We can't.
You can't nudge in the military.
But green light, go.
Not on the jumping out of the plane portion, but career-wise.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
you retired. I mean, I'm assuming once you retired from your career.
Oh, I've had to reach back and call plenty of folks.
Sure.
Yeah, I had to reach back.
And I think that's going to be a key point in continuing to move forward for all of us is figuring out what that fear is. And, sometimes it takes people to help us overcome it. Yeah. And a lot of it is business related. Some of it's personal. Some of it's, like you said, just putting yourself out there, just going for what you want.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
very neat. I like it. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a little break, and after the break, we're going to come back, and to all of our listeners, we like to issue a challenge at the end of every episode where we're going to give you an opportunity to push through some of the limits you have in your life. So we'll be right back. Hey everyone, it's Kristen. Be sure and visit my website at www.andregroup.com. That's www.andreegroup.com. And while you're there, be sure to download my white paper, Top 10 Reasons Your Business Isn't Growing Fast Enough. Now get out there and create your no limits moment. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the No Limits with Kristen Andre podcast. We are here with Tonya Oxendine, who has celebrated a very, very esteemed, nearly 30-year military career and is now a motivational speaker. So before the break, we were talking about fear and overcoming fear and how important that is to do in kind of business and in life in general. Right. So, I mean, what do you think is a common scary thing for people?
The unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
Right.
Yeah. In business, you know, a lot of times it's taking the next step, kind of reaching out and growing yourself a little bit. You know, personally, I don't think personally. So what's scary personally? I mean, things like you're doing, the competition that you're doing, putting yourself out there.
Right. Yeah. Putting yourself out there. And probably too for a lot of people, like finances.
Yeah.
You know,
finances
if I
are
can
a scary
be,
thing.
for real,
absolutely.
You got to take care of the family. And if that's the only thing they're depending on is just that income coming in and things are tight, trying to deal with that. And
I think that's a big one because a lot of times with people that I've met and entrepreneurs and people who are looking at doing something different in their life, something they really feel called to do, that's a lot of times I hate to use it as excuse, but the excuse I hear, it's really that I can't because I can't quit my job. I can't do this. I need to support the family. You know, I'm a single mom. I can't pay all this. I hear a lot of that, and you're probably exactly right. It's probably fear creeping in, and that's just a convenient way to go, I'm just going to put that fear at bay for a little bit and put it off.
Right. So instead of maybe saying I can't, and I know, and people don't get it wrong. I'm not sitting out there with a whole bunch of zeros at the end of my paycheck. Right. Really, so I have to do that self-talk like daily a lot of times. So instead of saying I can, I try to refocus and say, how can I?
I think that's a great switch. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because the Cobb Galleria,
that's a big facility.
Whoa,
yeah.
Right. So
that's a big deal.
How can I fit this into my budget? How can I afford to be out here at the Cobb Galleria?
Yeah.
I mean, I figured it out. So, yeah.
Well, and a lot of times you do. It's like you figure it out and you put it out there first. So, fear is a huge thing that's stopping. And I feel like, and I've said this before, with your background, it just, my impression is you're probably just fearless, and we all want to be seen as fearless, but even if we are, there are these little things that come into play that we're like, ooh, there's that little person on my shoulder.
I'm not scared either. Now. I am scared sometimes, but it's so many resources out here. You know, if you go places, you meet people like yourself and Isaac, and it's just you meet so many different people, and you have resources. The business center, right? These places are free.
Tons of resources.
There's so many different resources, and then you meet different people when you're in these places, and so that's what I did. I just I didn't stay home. I'm not going to meet anybody at home, in my office upstairs at home. So I have to get out, and so it's scary to meet that first person or see this person and not have your elevator pitch.
Right.
Elevator pitch. Yeah. So it's you don't have all that stuff together at first, but eventually the puzzle starts.
The pieces start coming together.
Right,
yep,
right,
they do.
Right.
And it's all of that starts when you overcome whatever it is that's scary.
That big fear. Right.
So before the break, we were talking about, I told you we issue a challenge to all our listeners. So you guys get ready here. It's coming. At the end of every episode, we have all our guys out here listening to us. My goal with this is that people push past their limits and push past their fear. So at the end of every episode, we issue a challenge, and we put together a Facebook group. You can find it at #NoLimitsMoment.
Okay.
And what we do, we're about to issue a challenge to our viewers here and listeners on how they can push past this fear. So for those of you guys listening, here's what we want you to do. Tonya and I definitely know that to get where you want to be career-wise, personally, professionally, whatever it is, you got to push past some fears. So I want you to identify one thing that you're scared to death of right now. It could be making a big phone call. It could be saying yes to that speaking engagement that you were a little nervous about, or to hosting your own event. Whatever it is, I want you to write that down. And I want you to share that with our group at #NoLimitsMoment on Facebook. And then I want you to push through it and tell us the win. Tell us what you were able to do by pushing past this fear. So the goal of everything is just to get you where you can just move through it. Because I think you've done that throughout your career. It's just there were scary things, both entrepreneurial and military based, that you just had to push through. And you wouldn't be where you were had you not been able to do that. So I think that's a great challenge for the audience. What do you think?
Oh, I think so.
I think it'd be fun to watch. So I think it'd be fun to watch. So Tonya, thank you so much. Tell us again when you're in Venice, so we make sure everybody shows up for you here in Atlanta.
The event is Deliberate Success at the Cobb Galleria Center, and tickets are on sale now at Eventbrite. So come out on June 23rd at the Cobb Galleria. It's from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on June 23rd. Awesome.
It'll be a fantastic event. You guys will get a chance to listen to Tonya, meet her in person, and grow, be able to create some success deliberately for yourself. So once again, we thank you guys for being with us, and join us next time on the next episode of the No Limits with Krista and Andre podcast. Make it a great one.